Well, folks, you know what time it is because it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. You know what time it is. It's time to start your week off right here on Play for Keeps the show on Nerd Initiative. This week, we're doing our first ever Collector's Corner. Now, with me as always is myself. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. And usually over on this side or that side, depending, I don't know if I got my camera which way this week, is the voice of Nerd Initiative. He's the Kyber in my Kyber Crystal. He would be Mickey CWK Smith, but he's been called back to Coruscant. He's on a top secret mission. So I got to run solo this week. So, as always, we're going to start off talking about what did we pick up this week. Sadly, folks, there were no big pickups for me this week. The only thing that was great that happened, I may have happened to found a figure that I lost. We knew it was delivered. I was checking the shipping. I was checking the tracking. And it is kind of serendipitous because it is Star Wars. It's Merrin from the Jedi Survivor series. So I was happy to finally put her up on the shelf next to all my video game figures. And also on top of it, if you guys have been following along, the shelves are coming along great. Power Rangers are all done. Biker Mice are all up. The clones and the video game and the Bad Batch are up. We still got to work on Rebels, Clone Wars, or the Skywalker Saga, and the droids, because my wife will kill me if I don't put the droids up. So that's what's going on in my neck of the woods. But we got to talk about some toy news, and unfortunately, my setup didn't keep it up there. Let's see, there it is. It is still there. So let's get in and let's talk about some toy news. Yep, it's the miracles of semi-modern technology. Now, you guys all know I am Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur, but first and foremost, I am a Power Ranger fanatic. I know everything that you could probably think there is to talk about Power Rangers. So the first thing in toy news that I got to talk about is Lego Ideas. That's right. They are making the Megazord. They are taking everything that they learned from making the Voltron set and making it all the better. I can already tell you right now, just looking at the shoulder connections to the Mastodon, I am very happy with this, considering if you happen to have the Voltron set, and I could go grab mine right now because it's on the other side of the shelves. I've been Green Lion arm for quite some time, less because of 6 clamp holds. So yeah, I'm happy to see where they go with this. Really was amazed. You can actually go check the Nerd Initiative bullpen. We were talking about this, and I said, yeah, until I hear an actual press release, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I see it. Now I got to believe it. Up next, we've got talking about, of course, going with the whole Voltron theme. These will disconnect and then reconnect together. So you do get your 5 individual Dinozords, and then you can put them all together to get the Megazord. I'm really interested to see how they deal with certain things, like especially the T-Rex tail. There's a lot of little minutia if anybody happened to have the Megazord when they were a kid. So again, this build is going to be pretty darn interesting. Mega Man X, okay? Like 3-0, you do amazing stuff. And to see that you're doing a Mega Man X Rising Fire version, if I remember correctly, this is the power-up that you got from Magma Dragoon and Mega Man X2. You guys know that me and Mickey are huge Mega Man fans, and we love our collectibles for it. There will be a shelf for Mega Man eventually. All I have are some Funkos. We're just going to leave it at that because money's got to go certain places. But this is just a gorgeous piece. I think this is one of the first figures that we've seen that's had a really big, bright red. And it's got that nice off-color white instead of that big, huge, stark white like we see in some other Mega Man versions. So I'm really looking forward to putting this one out on my shelf. And, if you were at New York Comic Con, this was announced, and I got to see it with my own 2 eyes from the G.I. Joe classified line, right? From Cobra-La. Like, look at this. Look at the tooling on this. Look at the paint. Like, Pythona is just looking so darn good. And, you can definitely tell with all the extra little accessories because Hasbro, of course, has to, legitimize that now $35 price point. Oh, sorry. Did I say that? It's just a gorgeous figure, especially you got to love the fact that this is primarily a purple figure, but the fact that they've done the textures and the colors and a soft goods cape as well, that says a lot to the detail that they're putting into this line. Although I still am going to knock the fact that the first ever Skybound figure that we have outside of Jetfire of its own standalone is still $75. That's just me. We've already talked about it. Moving on. And of course, we can't talk about Lego unless we talk about more Lego, because we finally officially are getting Star Trek Lego. This is NCC 1701-D, the Next Generation Enterprise. Even comes with one of the little runabouts. Wait, runabouts is the wrong one. Runabouts were DS9. These are the shuttles. Excuse me. I don't know exactly which minifigure it comes with, but that could be, let's see, red shirt, could be Ro Laren. I would love if it be Ro Laren. As far as the scale of this, I'm not exactly sure how big they're going to make this just yet. Price points are coming soon. So that is everything we've got going on in toy news. So let's talk about what else is going on. We're here to talk lightsabers. And with me today, I have someone who's a fantastic content creator. He's a podcaster himself. He's a lover of all things Star Wars. He may know a thing or two about lightsabers, as I hold my one single one that I happen to have myself. Wait, no, I got two. My wife lets me borrow hers when I'm allowed. But with me today, I have a guy who knows a thing about an elegant weapon or two. I have Mr. J.M. Clark from Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, of the channel An Elegant Weapon. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening.
Oh, goodness. Thank you for having me. This is so cool. I love it.
Now, as I said, you're a podcaster yourself. So where can we find you at?
Well, okay. There's a main site. There's an elegantweapon.ca, or you can just go to Spotify or Apple Music. I guess it is now. I'm still used to saying iTunes. I'm so stuck in those old days. But yeah, the podcast is mostly interviews and stuff, and you can find that wherever you find podcasts. But then there's also the YouTube and TikTok channel, and it just type An Elegant Weapon into anything, and I should show up.
Now, as we obviously see, we have your completely new redesigned shelves back behind you. Now, if you guys don't know or not familiar with JM's stuff, he is a wonderful, happy, fun, safe place, especially in the Star Wars community. Let's be honest, we know that there's those guys.
Oh yeah.
But this is one of those places where you really want to land. He has an amazing, large, huge collections of lightsabers, both toys and collectibles and everything. You know, it's Star Wars. How is it that, you know, with all the things that are out there to collect, like I myself, I'm a Black Series collection, you know, why is it you got into lightsabers?
Well, I'll have to give you a bit of the origin story for that.
Yes.
And that takes us back all the way back to 1983. Me and my cousins, I remember my mom and my aunt took us to the Lincoln Cinemas in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and we saw Return of the Jedi. And that was my first Star Wars exposure, because I was a little too young for the other ones, right? Like 2-year-olds weren't or probably shouldn't have been watching Empire. But, you know, for a 6-year-old, Ewoks and speeder bikes, it was perfect. And that moment at the beginning of the movie when R2 shot Luke his lightsaber and that thing lit up, I'll never forget that moment as a kid, just being like, what is that? And to this day, it still gives me goosebumps. It's one of the coolest moments that I remember from my childhood. And I just got hooked. We went, I lived in St. Catharines, which is a little town outside of Niagara Falls here in Ontario. So we were very close to the border. So we would often go, as we called it, over the river, and we'd go to Buffalo and we'd shop because taxes were less and, you know, things we couldn't get here in Canada. So we'd go over, and I remember we went to Kmart in Buffalo, and they had the Kenner, the Force lightsaber, which were the ones that they were big handles that had kind of holes in them, and they were hollow. So when you swung them around, they made like a whistling sound.
Oh.
And I got a red one for Return of the Jedi, and that thing became like my only toy. It's all I cared about. Unfortunately, it didn't survive my childhood. I did later reacquire several, but that's the origin story. That's how it started. And ever since I was a small child, to me, lightsabers are just like one of the coolest things you could ever think of. I was always a sword guy. I always liked, like, you know, sword and sorcery and Robin Hood and sword duels and stuff. But oh man, when the lightsaber came into my life, I never looked back. So I've basically been collecting for just decades since that happened.
That's pretty amazing. I will say, I know for my personal collection, I only got my first lightsaber. As a matter of fact, it was this one from one of those companies that, you see at
Yeah.
conventions and then you realize, wait, I paid how much for this?
Right.
Just only a few years ago. I'm going back through my personal history. I don't believe I was allowed to have one because we just turned them all into cudgels and smacked the crap out of each other. But outside of lightsabers, what, are you just a fan of the lightsabers, or are you still that much of a dedicated fan in Star Wars and Star Wars lore?
Okay, so as a kid, we didn't have so much Star Wars, so
Right.
I loved whatever Star Wars we got, but it wasn't like an overwhelming thing when I was younger, because I was also, as a child, heavily into Masters of the Universe. And so that was actually probably like my number one thing that I had the most items of were He-Man stuff. And also superpowers I was huge into, a little bit of G.I. Joe. But, I was a typical 80s kid. Like, all the great stuff were my jams. And then in the 90s, I discovered the books, and I read the Jedi Academy series, which is a fantastic series. It's the true prequels to Star Wars in my mind. And I love that series, fell in love with it. And that kind of started bringing me back into, what, this is cool. I didn't know so much about the expanded universe at the time.
Mhm.
And then the books led me to the comics that Dark Horse was doing. And it was just the coolest stuff. It still is like the coolest stuff. And then the re-releases happened. And when the re-releases, the deluxe editions with all the special additives came out in the later 90s, that's when I just got sucked right back in. And my love of Star Wars was just like fully reignited. And they released the Kenner Power of the Force, Luke and Darth Vader lightsabers. And those were the first lightsabers we'd had in 10 years. And so that just got me right back into things, and I've not looked back since.
So as your Star Wars-ness has progressed, what inspired you to start your own social media and an Elegant Weapon, and to share your love and knowledge with everybody?
This is such a weird story, to be honest.
That's what we're here for, man.
So An Elegant Weapon started as a podcast back in 2011. And I did that podcast for 13 years. And I'm a panel host for Fan Expo. So if anybody out there ever goes to Fan Expos, you may see me doing the sketch duel hosting and stuff like that.
You and I have some mutuals offline, trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. So that podcast was, even though I had a lot of Star Wars guests and a lot of Star Wars content, it was very heavily comic book orientated. And oriented. Is orientated a word? Oriented? Sorry.
It is now.
It is now.
We'll give you a break. You're Canadian.
That's me speaking in Canadian. Yeah,
Hey.
That's what it is. So for many years, I was just a podcaster going around doing that kind of thing. Then the pandemic hit and shows went away. And everybody in the world decided to jump online and do a video podcast, which was never my thing. I was from the old days. I came up with the Kevin Smiths and the Joe Rogans and the Adam Carollas back in 2008, 2009. I was just a fan. That's why I eventually started podcasting, because Kevin Smith just kept yelling in my ear that I should be. Everyone should be. So
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, and it's so easy to do and blah, blah, blah. And Twitter was such a beautiful place at that time. Back in 2011, Twitter was a magical place where I met many of the best friends I still have today. And, so that continued. The pandemic hit, everything went away. Since everybody was video podcasting, it wasn't really my thing. And it just, me being a solo show and I do everything myself, it just started to take on too much, where it felt like too much work. Mm-hmm. And it didn't feel organic. And because like you, I'm very off the cuff. I never prepare for anything.
He said the thing, folks.
Yeah. So I put it on hold. I put the podcast on hold, and I was like, I'm going to take a break with the rest of the world. And, I just I just started playing online a little, and my kid introduced me to CapCut, which is an editing app for your phone. And I've always loved to edit my whole life. It's been one of my passions, is like film editing and stuff. So really got into CapCut. It was almost like I was addicted to a video game. So I was like, I need things to edit. So I started making these silly little videos about anything, comics, toys, just opening new comics or toys. I was opening old vintage packs of trading cards. Stuff like that. Just have something to edit, And then I made 2 lightsaber videos, because I never intended this to go anywhere. I was just like, I love TikTok. TikTok's fun. This was in the beginning of TikTok, 2020, 2021. So everything was just fun. And I just wanted to be part of the fun. So, I started making these little edits. I made 2 lightsaber videos, and those really took off. And I was like, oh, there might be the niche, the magical TikTok niche that you need to find to really get a hold of that algorithm. And I just started, I don't know why it didn't occur to me before, but I was like, I have a massive lightsaber collection. I might as well make videos about it. Because I've always been an interviewer, it's never really dawned on me that I'd have something for me to just solo kind of talk about and, be interested in. So I started doing that, and it just took off, and it just kept rolling. And now I've got this army of kids who are just the most awesome people. Like you say, I'm very, very proud of the fact that I've been able to create a safe space.
Yes.
Where people can come and debate and argue, which does happen in my comment section, but I never let it go too far, because that's just not what we're here for. To me, it's a waste of time to care what somebody else thinks about something else. Unless that person, shares a passion for it with you, then you can find common ground. But I have no interest in listening to any kind of bashing that goes on in this particular fandom, because it's just a waste of time to me. There'll always be something new and always something cool to like. And there's all the old stuff that's cool to go like. So I don't care what they think. I like what I think. And I just wanted that to be, again, a safe space for people. So I think that's what I'm most proud of. There's never been a place for toy lightsaber collectors, really.
No.
There's never been that spot, because it's such a niche thing. Like the Star Wars collecting world is very tight, even though there are like subgroups. They're still all kind of like into vintage or this, but lightsabers have never really been considered a serious Star Wars toy, something worth keeping, something worth collecting even, maybe the old ones like the inflatable first saber and stuff. But, most people have just never really cared. So to find all these people who care and to have, made this space for them to come together, because I never knew how many of us actually existed. Turns out there's a bunch, right?
Just a bit.
Yeah. So Star Wars toy lovers, I love that we have this fun lightsaber love fest going on. It's awesome,
Now let's get into your collection, as gorgeous as it is behind it. I'm not gonna say dance monkey dance and get up and talk about every single one of them.
It's all good.
So what is for you the oldest saber in collection that you have, that you've held the longest?
The oldest in my collection, or the oldest? Okay, the oldest that's been in my collection, or the oldest in my collection?
Both.
Okay.
What's been the longest in your collection, and what is the oldest in your collection?
I would have to say the longest in my collection, let me see how this would work. It would be the 1995 Luke Skywalker electronic lightsaber from Kenner loose. I had lightsabers earlier, but they did not survive my childhood. So that's the earliest one that I have of mine. The oldest one in my collection would be the 1977 bootleg, the Force Beam, which is the first ever lightsaber toy ever made. It's unlicensed. It beat Kenner's first lightsaber, which was the inflatable lightsaber, by a couple of months. Wow. And it's a pretty famous bootleg. It's one of my happier additions to the collection. I only picked it up a couple months ago, so I'm still very excited to have it as a piece in the collection. But that's the oldest one I have, is the first one ever made, and it's that bootleg. It's awesome.
And what is the most recent addition to your collection?
The most recent, which kind of goes along with what did we pick up this week?
Hey,
Halloween is a great time for me because all the pop-ups come, the spirits come, the independent
Yes.
pop-ups come, and they always have Ruby's lightsabers. And what
did
Ruby's
you get another Ruby's lightsaber?
Yeah, I did. The Ruby's Costume Company is the only other licensed company to make lightsabers other than Kenner, what now Hasbro. And that's because they're not toys, they're costume accessories,
Pieces,
right? So there's always weird ones. They constantly are repackaging these ones too. That's why I don't buy everyone I see, because I don't feel the need to have nine of the same lightsaber in the same package. Like, I will pick it up if they're like, say it's $5, then yeah, I can't turn it down.
Yeah, that
It's
day
kind
after
of that
sale's always a
situation.
good thing.
Yeah. So I picked up this piece last week at a pop-up Halloween shop. It's a more recent Ruby's Qui-Gon Jinn. Let me see if there's a year on here. That's weird. I don't see a year.
Do you think it probably might have been a re-release because of Qui-Gon popping up in Obi-Wan?
Yeah, it could be, but they just always pop up. These they've pretty much been continuously making Qui-Gon Jinn lightsabers since 1999.
Because he's a badass.
He is a badass, and a lot of people like that lightsaber. That's really weird that there's no year on this. Oh, it's a Disney. That's why. Okay, it's a Ruby's Costume Company produced. You can see here, but it's Disney. And when Disney gets involved with anything, for some reason, they don't put years on things. If you ever buy a lightsaber toy from a Disney park, there won't be a year on it. It's a really weird thing.
Fun fact.
Yeah. So I picked up this. I do have Ruby's Qui-Gons from the past, but what I don't have about this one is it's got that clip. You see the clip there?
Okay.
So you would turn the top of this, you turn the silver thing, that clip thing opens, you can flick out the blade. Any ones they've made in the past were just pure flick out, right? So that was pretty cool. It was also only $10. It is actually pretty much open. I may just go ahead and open it all the way so I could actually demonstrate it, but I still have to make a video about this. So that's my newest acquirement.
That's pretty darn cool. Now, when it comes to, the different sabers and repackaging, is there one that really stands out to you? Like, wait a minute, we took blade A from here and put it on, hilt B and put it on card C, that makes you just go, why?
I know why, and it's to make more money by spending less money. Right? Like you don't, like, the most expensive thing in making any toy is the mold. That's the most expensive thing to have created. Painting is just painting. So once you have that mold, once you have your 1999 made Qui-Gon Jinn mold, you can repaint and repackage that sucker so many times over that it's actually gotten to a point where even I couldn't tell you about them all. I have lost track of how many of them there are. I do have an episode 2 Anakin Skywalker Padawan. No, sorry. This is wrong. I do have, it's a Ruby's lightsaber. It's packaged as Luke Skywalker's, but it's Darth Vader's lightsaber painted like Anakin's from episode 2. And it's got a picture of Darth Maul on the package.
What?
So that thing is just a weird mystery of messes that went on. That's probably the strangest, like, Ruby's pop-up that I've ever found. Most of them are pretty straightforward, just different colors. But that's probably the weirdest one. But there's none that really bother me because, I get it. It's big business. It's a cheap way to make more money, So
now, as a lightsaber aficionado, what was your thoughts on some certain Jedi being one badass mother who happened to walk out with a purple lightsaber? How did that change your whole perception of lightsabers? Or were you like the rest of going, his is purple, cool?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was very exciting to see. And I don't think I was shocked or surprised when I first saw that Mace would have a purple. But but I was happy, and I was happy surprised, but I wasn't like shocked or disappointed or thought it was weird or anything like that. It's even weird to think back on now because I'm so used to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But trying to think back now, I think the most I got excited about him having that purple lightsaber is that they released episode 1. We didn't see his lightsaber. There's a very small glimpse of his robe opening near the end where you get a glimpse of a silver lightsaber. And that lightsaber has pretty much become the kind of model for like a bunch of other Jedis. And for episode 2, Attack of the Clones, they released a Phantom Menace Mace Windu lightsaber that had that silver handle with a purple blade. And that was the first purple toy lightsaber. That I got very, very excited about. I have it over there prepared for a new video, in fact. And I went to a show here in Ontario, and I saw it. I got in early. I rushed. I always do a quick lightsaber sweep before I take my time and go around a toy show. I saw it, scooped it up right away, and I swear to gosh, I was like, I'm going to go to my car and just keep this in my car. Before I got to my car, like 6 people were like, offered me like more money for it. And I was like, no, like, because we couldn't get it in Canada at the time. And that's a very special memory for me, how that went down with that, because I was like, that was a real special score. You know what I mean? So that
we
was
all
cool.
have them in our collections. I know I have, you can't tell, but I have a certain Skylander figure up here. It's kind of all faded out because it's red right now.
Yeah.
But that was week 1 of that particular series coming out. I think it might have been day 2 or 3 when it came out. Yeah. And I walked in the store and I just turned to my left and I'm like, that's a Chase variant. Like, it's pegged with all the regulars and it's just sitting right there. Nobody's noticing. And I'm like, yoink.
Don't you love it? It's so magical when that stuff happens, man.
So it's like the Force to guide you.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. That was special. But other than that, like, you know, episode 2, whatever you think about the movie, was a lightsaber love fest. Like the army all igniting in the arena, just like moments like that were like the stuff of dreams to me as a kid, you know. So actually getting to finally see that's why I don't care. I will always have love for Attack of the Clones. Whatever anybody says about it, it won't matter to me because I got to see an army of Jedi light up their lightsabers at once. How can you complain about something like that?
You can't.
You know, like that's such a good thing. Like, none of the bad matters to me if they're gonna give me something that cool. And I guess I'm able to zero in on that. I don't know, but like, geez, what a beautiful time for lightsabers that movie was. Because plus, for that movie, there were more toy releases than any other movie up to that point, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So super cool.
What really gets me about the whole thing with Mace Windu is how that immediately changed Star Wars lore.
Yeah, immediately.
And I love it when you can change lore, and it makes sense too.
I love that it's on record. I love that you can literally watch on the back, behind the scenes stuff. You see that moment where he brings up having a purple lightsaber. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's organic. I don't think that was set up or talked about earlier in any way. Just the way he quietly kind of says to George Lucas, Lucas says, green and blue for good guys and red for bad guys. And he just so casually just goes, purple? And Lucas is like, maybe purple. I believe in that moment fully, and I can't believe that moment is actually caught on film. Like, that tickles me to death. I love that. Yeah.
Funny story is that years later, a friend of mine they were crowdfunding an album, and I was one of the last ones. And I said, if my name's in the liner notes, it better be purple. And he knew exactly what I said, what I meant too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But out of everything that you've had, in your collection, everything. What do you think is, we don't just have the huge wall of sabers right here. These are all your toy sabers. Well, a majority of your toy sabers, because I know some of them probably don't fit on there.
That's probably what you can kind of see here. There's like another 2 shelf or 2 above us, and some boxed lightsabers on the bottom shelf that you can't really see there. That's probably, I want to say, 60 to 70% of the whole collection.
Yep,
is what you can see. So there's another wall. There's another wall of replicas, and then there's another wall of forged lightsabers and a few others, and then there's kind of boxes around and stuff. I'm actually going to do an updated tour video soon, since nobody's really seen the full breadth of it since I redid and remodeled and painted and made new shelves. So very soon on my YouTube, you're going to see a long form tour video, updated tour of the collection.
So out of your replicas, okay,
Mhm.
what's your favorite Jedi blade and what's your favorite Sith blade?
My favorite Jedi blade is Depa Billaba. That's
Oh.
perhaps my all-time favorite lightsaber. People are always
Okay.
surprised to hear it. It's an amazing lightsaber. I absolutely love it to death. The second I saw it, I fell insanely in love with it. You know what? The Sith saber, I haven't really thought tons about. But what comes to my mind first is probably Dooku.
The curved blade. One, too.
Yeah, it's a very cool handle. I just got that replica, and it's a smaller scale than I expected, but it's very cool. Yeah, that's probably my favorite Sith hilt. Even though for my own personal use, I wouldn't use a curved lightsaber. That's when I look there, that's the one that sticks out to me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Depa Billaba. Okay. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah. Context, I guess. Depa Billaba was Caleb Dooms,
Yep.
aka Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels. That was his master. And in the first episode of The Bad Batch, you see her experience go down with Order 66. And yeah, I do very much look up to her as a Jedi as well, beyond just loving her lightsaber. In fact, I have my own lightsaber coming out soon.
I was getting to that.
Yeah, it's heavily influenced. There's a lot of Depa Billaba influence in my lightsaber that's coming out as well. So yeah, I'm a huge fan, man. It's slick, it's curved, it's simple.
Yeah.
It feels cool. There's just, for me personally, like, I don't think it's the best lightsaber ever made. It's not the prettiest. It's not the whatever. For me though, it's amazing. I love it.
It's simple. It's utilitarian. It does exactly what it needs to do. You know, there's nothing flashy or showy. Like the best example of a flashy and showy is obviously Sidious's. You know, because he had to have the Electrum and the blah 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 blah.
You know what the flashiest of lightsabers is to me?
Hit me.
Leia's. Since Leia's came out
with the mother of pearl and everything,
mother of pearl and gold and copper, and it looks like a steampunk royalty. With
well, she is royalty. Damn it, she's allowed.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, this isn't a knock on it, but it is, to me. It's like, damn, like that's a flashy lightsaber, you know.
Well, if we're going to talk lightsabers, I do have a Kit Bash lightsaber that will eventually be tattooed on me. And when I tell people about this, they're like, "Oh, wow, who do you got? Whose parts of your lightsabers?" And instantly, I can tell you that is nothing. There is no Skywalker saber involved in it.
Right on.
So it is, the top of it is Jaro Tapal.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, followed by the emitter from Kanan Jarrus.
Okay.
The handle is Obi-Wan 2.
Okay.
And the pommel is Rey.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I can see it. I dig it.
I had a really good artist draw it all up for me. I'll have to send you the picture of it.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to see it. That's super cool.
Yep. And
yeah, I had a buddy recently. He drew a picture of what he thinks my lightsaber would look like.
Okay.
And it's basically like a piece of a tree with all these like roots coming off like the bottom. It's the coolest thing.
Well, I was gonna say you are an arborist in your day
by
job,
day,
correct?
By daytime, yeah. By day I'm a tree climber. By night I'm a giant nerd. So
yep. So what were your thoughts on Gunji and his particular lightsaber?
I love it.
It's absolutely
wonderful. The only one I actually have is a 3D printed one that was made for me. They have since come out with a legacy for Disney, and I know that there's some companies trying to work on getting a replica out there. I think maybe someone did, if I think back, but I know there is a legacy version, which as much as I'm not a huge fan of those legacy versions, I'm not a big fan of the builds and the quality of those lightsabers. especially for their price points.
Yes.
I do feel I need to have one of those in my collection. You know what I mean? Because
I do. I have
a
been to
wooden
Doc
lightsaber.
Ondar's.
Yeah.
I have been to Doc Ondar's. I have seen them sitting in the case, and I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
The
yeah.
only problem was is that I was 3,000 miles away from home.
Yeah.
I was at Disneyland my first time I went to Doc Ondar's.
Okay,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh man,
Yeah, it's
this
tough.
isn't gonna make it.
I can say though that I was happily able to incorporate some wood into my lightsaber design. So there's another little sneak preview for you kids that they're.
So it's gonna have the wood paneling like the Winnebago.
Oh man, that would be cool. A Winnebago lightsaber. Man, that would be rad. It's always fun when people do stuff like that. I love to see lightsabers that are like other franchises and other EPs that people have done up. Those are always cool to see.
It is fun that it's so interesting in the Star Wars community, and we're just talking Star Wars on a whole. That it's one of the few communities. Now we're gonna go away from the Stormtroopers. We're gonna talk about the Mandalorians. Like, oh, cool! You want to mash this up as a Mando? Go ahead.
Oh, the Mandos, geez, yeah. There's Mando
this
everything.
Is the way. There's
I've
Mando.
seen
I've seen princesses. I've seen
everything.
I just want to see a Mando Ben 10. That's the one I really want to see.
I recently saw a Ninja Turtle Mando, and it was so well done. It was so well done.
I love it.
Yeah.
So going back to the collection.
Yeah.
All right. What is the saber that you've spent the least amount of Canadian dollars on?
There's a few like secondhand double broken lightsabers that I have, or even some that aren't necessarily broken but don't like work great. If I see a lightsaber that's less than $10, odds are I'm gonna buy it. So if it's like in a $2 bin or a $5 bin at a toy show or a toy store, I'm gonna buy that lightsaber. Even if I already have it, I'm gonna buy it as a giveaway or just to give it kids at shows. Sometimes people will ask me to sign lightsabers that are just like, I think they're insane. Like I actually did it yesterday at a Comic-Con. I signed a Cal Kestis replica, and this guy was insistent that I sign this lightsaber. And I'm like, I still can't comprehend that people would want my signature on something that cost them so much money to get, right? So what I'll often do when it's a kid, I will get their address, and rather than sign their like at Fan Expo this year, this kid wanted me to sign his power saber. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable signing your power saber, right? Like that's kind of crazy. So I actually got his address and I signed one of my doubles for him and then sent him that. That's how badly I didn't want to sign his power saber.
Oh, don't blame me. That's good collecting karma right there.
So I'd, under $10. And then there's like the lightsaber squad ones for kids that are in Walmart for like $12 that I pick up. Yep. So, cheap lightsabers can be very cheap. So
I will say one of my third one that I do have, it's in the other room. It's one of those ones from the Tic Tac that combined together to a nice double size one, but they're great. They're great Tonfa size ones.
Nice.
Or Shoto size.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
If anybody goes back on Nerd Initiative to watch our hilarious Revenge of the Fifth video that I was doing the spinning and Mickey was doing the voiceover, go watch it. It's fantastic.
Okay.
But now we've talked about the least expensive. What is the most expensive toy that you have in your collection? Now we're going to preface this. What is the most expensive that you have shelled out? And what is the most expensive that it costs now?
Gotcha. The most I have ever paid for a lightsaber is $300 Canadian.
Now, are we talking toy or collectible? I always like to consider them separate.
Well, this toy, the most I've ever paid for a lightsaber was my 1985 Droids lightsaber.
Oh.
Okay. Now, I bought that in 2001 off of eBay for $300. And that's the most I've ever paid. It's worth a little bit more now, which is very cool. But most of my vintage lightsabers that I've had to pay for are around that price range. I've paid I have several lightsabers, like some of the Power of the Force. Some of the Force lightsabers from 80 and 83 that I've paid around $200 for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the most that I've shelled out. The most that any of my lightsabers are worth are that droid's lightsaber these days. Mine is graded, and it's a 7.5. I think I have on it, so it's in pretty good shape. It's only the second one I've ever seen graded, the only green one that have seen graded. And when I've compared prices, I think I could probably get about $200 to $2,500 Canadian for that lightsaber at this point. It's getting rare. I may be able to push it to $3 Canadian. And the second most would be my Master Replica limited edition Episode 4 Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber. There's only 1,500 in existence. I think it was from 2001 or 2000 that I got it. And I see those online going for about 2,500 to 3,000 American. Now, I'm not sure, to be honest, if I've brought the price down or up by having Roger Christian sign it.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know, Roger Christian is the Academy Award-winning set decorator of the original Star Wars and the builder of the first lightsaber. Even though he didn't build Obi-Wan's, he did oversee it. And I had him sign my limited edition. So I'm not sure if that made it go up or down. But
I say out
I'm
of the
happy with
community.
it.
I say out of the community, no. I say
Right.
in the community, yes.
Yeah. I know mine's the only one with his signature on it because he told me he's never signed one before. So,
So
but those
I
are my
guess
top two most expensive lightsabers. Are those two lightsabers? Yeah.
So what's your most unique saber? Because you said that you've also had some forged ones off to the side, that have been done by other companies outside of the House of Mouse and till all are one Hasbro.
Yeah. Some of my favorite unique ones. There's this Etsy store called Blue Garage Customs, and he does amazing work. He just makes 3D printed, but what he does is he's devised this bottom pommel that is the light. So it's a 3D printed lightsaber with a flick out blade and a light that there's a button on the bottom of the pommel. You just press that and it lights up. So basically they're almost interchangeable because of all the parts, and you slide them all together, but they're all based around this light pommel that he came up with. And it's just a USB charger. And I love his designs. He sent me two that I have that are in my collection that are just gorgeous. And those are two of my favorite, unique one-offs that I've seen. And then I just, some of the weird ones are probably like the power sabers. Everyone knows this power saber, and which isn't, official. It's mostly the unofficial ones that kind of stick out as being the weird and unique ones. But as far as official, there's always stuff right there. If you can see, that's the Star Killer Force Unleashed Deluxe color changing lightsaber. This is the one where the claws pop out.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of lightsabers that have maybe a unique quality to each of them. That's kind of part of the reason I love collecting them. They're at least they used to be all a lot different and unique. That's why I'm not a huge fan of the forge wave that we're still riding. It's been 4 or 5 years now of nothing but forge lightsabers and transparent forge lightsabers. And a lot of those just kind of have the same repainted parts as other ones. And it's kind of okay, now we're going a bit far with the whole trying to make the money kind of thing. I'd like to go back. Even the earlier forges that weren't transparent, some of those were pretty cool. I liked the Ahsoka ones. I wish they'd at least go on making lightsabers of lightsabers rather than these weird kind of forge ones that don't even really look like the ones they're supposed to represent. I'd like to move past that. But I guess the options would be Disney effects lightsabers, which are a problem for me because here in Canada, we don't have Target or the Disney store anymore. They've both gone away. So my only real hookups for lightsabers is Walmart or Toys R Us. As far as
or a guy who you probably don't even realize lives less than 3 hours from you.
oh, beautiful, nice, yeah, exactly.
Who
Well,
has
I
a
live near Buffalo. I live an hour from Buffalo.
who
I'm
has a
just
Target guy.
yeah. I could go to Target in Buffalo. I've just there's been certain things keeping me out of the States currently for a little while. So I'm kind of riding that wave out to see what happens. And I am lucky that we still have Toys R Us, but we just don't get a lot of the lightsabers that you guys get, right? Especially those like Disney ones, which I can't order from Disney because the shipping and the tariffs and all that is like 4
Crazy.
times what the lightsaber costs.
Mhm.
So I am in a tough spot as far as my actual collecting right now. I'd love to own more of the Disney lightsabers, the effects ones. Like currently, I only have Ahsoka's and Rey's from the Disney store, with those pop-in blades that they have now, right? But I'm sure we'll get there.
Now, as far as lightsaber technology goes, all right, this is going to be a very unique question. Ever since the Star Wars has become under the House of Mouse, all right, I have very much seen that every single new show comes with 2 things: a new droid and a new saber.
Mm-hmm.
What has been some of your favorites that you've seen? Like, I personally have not been a fan of the crossguard. I loved Ezra's. I thought that was fun and unique. His first saber, because it was a new take, really on it. But what have been some of your newer Disney ones?
Okay, I am in love with the pirate, the skeleton crew lightsaber.
Okay,
the mystery lightsaber that they find in the treasure hoard. It's a beautiful lightsaber. I have a replica of it from All Sabers. Great company, All Sabers. I get no complaints. If you want to deal with them, do it. And I really love that lightsaber. It's very sleek. It's very handleable. It's a great dueling saber. I love that there's mystery behind it. That always gets me stoked. That's a fantastic lightsaber. The other show ones, pretty much you have to go with the Acolyte. And my problem with the Acolyte lightsabers is in 2 parts. Like, they're just too big. They're so thick and cumbersome. You can't do anything with them. Now, I appreciate that. I think the idea was to try and show an earlier time in lightsaber technology where they hadn't gotten to be so compact yet.
Right.
And they were kind of thicker. My problem with that is that's not enough time in between the Acolyte and the prequels to have that much of a jump in evolution of the lightsaber technology. That bothers me. So if it was their intention to show like an earlier form, great. If it's just poor design where they're incredibly thick and cumbersome and kind of boring looking, I'm not a fan. I have 2. I have Master Souls and I have the Stranger's lightsaber. That one's cool because of the separation. That is neat to have and fun and play with, but just, they're not my favorite designs. So really the only show lightsaber, actually, sorry, that's not true. I think it's very cool that Baylan Skoll's lightsaber is very medieval sword-like.
Yes.
Very long, broad handle, like it was a long sword or a broad sword. I love that about that. That's very cool. I could take or leave Shin Hati's lightsaber. It's cool. It's all right. It's it doesn't bother me, but I don't. At the same time, I'm not in love with it. But as we all know, Ahsoka's lightsabers are just sick. Like, they're 2 of the sickest.
Come on.
They're just unbelievably sick.
They are.
In my top 3 favorite toy lightsabers of all time are the Disney Store Ahsoka lightsabers. Okay. They are a phenomenal toy. The quality in those toys, for as far as plastic toys go, is just phenomenal. I put that at the top of my list. Those are great, fantastic toys. The sound effects are really cool on those. I recommend them for sure. But that's kind of how I feel. I'm not a fan of the light whip. I'm just not. I'm sorry. There was actually a light whip in a novel in Star Wars back in like the 90s or something. Before Venestra Row was created, there was a Legends whip saber. I didn't like the idea then, and I got to be honest, I don't like it now. That's just like, if you can make a whip out of it, you just do too much. It takes away a certain skill. I don't know. For me,
It's not as much as an elegant weapon. It's more just
exactly
a flailing thing.
Exactly.
Now, here's a good question. One of my favorite ones that I always like to use is just a general trivia one, and you obviously would know how much I love Kit Fisto's lightsaber. Have they made a Kit Fisto lightsaber?
Oh yes, not a toy one.
Okay.
The closest I have two Kit Fistos. One, forgive me, I can't remember the company I got it from, and one is the Signature series.
Okay.
Which was in between Master Replica and the Black series. There was something called the Hasbro Signature series that a few were released through, and that's the one I have.
And I just always love it. I mean, obviously the fun trivia part is that he's one of the few Jedi that have a dual crystal lightsaber, because, you know, it can phase differently, so he can do it underwater.
Yeah, well, what's most unique is there are a few other Jedi, as you say, who do have a dual crystal, but those are usually intended for fortification or extreme length extensions and stuff, whereas Kit Fistos are constantly rotating with each other to keep a constant blade underwater.
Yep.
So it's not like there's two for extra power or anything like that. I think it's cool that there's a continuous cycle of the power core between the two crystals that keeps the blade like constantly ignited.
That's why I
like
so
the
much.
thought. Yeah, I love the thought process. And that's why those two, he's got the red and green lights on his lightsaber, because each of those represent the two crystals. I love that fact. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, again, you have your new lightsaber is going to be coming out.
Very soon.
Yes. And who's going to be doing that? Who's going to be putting that?
That is going to be put out by Extra Life Sabers, a fantastic company here in Ontario. They're out of Simcoe, Ontario, Canada. And they honestly, I don't just work with them a lot because they're in the vicinity. They're an hour away from me, the shop. There's an actual Extra Life is a toy store. It's Extra Life Toys and Games. And they have this subsidiary, their Extra Life Sabers division, where they sell these lightsabers. And Colin, who is one of the owners, Colin and Scott are the co-owners. Colin and I really hit it off when we met. We're very like-minded people. And honestly, the best prices of any company I've ever worked with, and other companies have had good prices, I have not seen any company beat Extra Life's prices yet. And I'm a big proponent of that, because these things are very expensive for the average person, especially if you want like a character or a double blade. You can get up into the $700 to $1,000 range for a lightsaber. So All Sabers is the most affordable lightsaber company that I've ever dealt with. I highly recommend them. Plus, they're just great guys to work with. You know what I mean? And they've got everything you want to get. Can I pull back the curtain? Can I take a quick opportunity to pull back the curtain for some of your viewers who may not be familiar with the whole lightsaber industry?
Please do.
A lot of people are constantly talking about their own lightsabers. There's a flood of companies on the internet right now, right? And a lot of people claim to have the world's most realistic lightsaber ever or whatever. This is all a giant lie. And the real deal is there are only two lightsaber companies. And I'm excluding like custom sabersmiths and little ma and pa companies who are doing their own builds. That's a whole other entity, right? But as far as these like replicas you're seeing being sold by all of these companies, they're dealing with either LGT or TXQ. And these two companies are the big Chinese, producers of these companies. So pretty much when you're shopping for a lightsaber, you're not shopping really for the product. You are shopping for the customer service, the price point, all the things that surround that. That's who you should be wanting to buy sabers from, because I'll be honest, all of these companies are dealing with one or the other. There are certain ones you can get, like THQ does a Temple Guard, whereas LGT hasn't made one yet. So, there's certain ones that they have that are unique. But like, if you ever hear a company like, let's take Saber Theory, for instance, one of the biggest companies out there for lightsabers is he can say that he has unique built lightsabers because they have his own soundboards. And a lot of the innards are custom made by him and who he works with, right?
Right.
But most of those bodies are still THQ lightsabers. That's what you're getting, right? So he can claim that because he's making it true by like modifying the lightsaber, building it with his own products. But most of these other companies, they're all the same lightsabers, man. And you're looking for price points, like I say, in customer service and stuff like that. That's why when I recommend companies like All Sabers or Extra Life or Saber X or Damien Saber, who is probably my biggest supporter, a huge portion of my replica collection has been very courteously and lovingly donated by Damien Sabers. And they're a great company to work with as well. So I recommend those companies based on their customer service and the quality of the service that they give, rather than more the lightsabers. Because honestly, kids, that's the true deal, But but I also love also check out all those independent sabersmiths. I like to push them because they're doing the most artistic work, the most beautiful work.
Yep.
The most mind-blowing work are things you'll see by like companies like Darth Alice Sabers and people like that. They're doing the stuff that's just blows my mind, and that's the real deal. You heard it here from J.M. Clark, kids.
So here's the deal, kids. When you go to your conventions, especially like Fan Expo, because I know this company has a contract with them, and you see those sabers that are kind of ultra, and you go, "Ooh, I like them." Take all the names he just said and go find it on there.
100%. Yeah.
Not
and
that
you
I
just
don't
said
mind
ultra. Yeah.
Not that I don't mind these guys, but
well, Ultra was the first. You got to give it up.
They
Ultra started this thing rolling years ago, and they do. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did do actually their own builds.
They were the only time I've ever gotten Ultras. I have two of them. I'll be honest. I get them on May 4th, and I get the $75 grab bag because you know what?
Awesome.
I'm gonna risk it. I can do $75, and that's it. I lucked out. I have this. It's very large for two-hand wielding. My wife, oddly enough, she has one, and I still have the standard full size blade,
right. Yeah.
but the hilt itself is much smaller.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't know why, but dude, I can twirl that thing like a bad boy.
Nice, right?
She got full green. This one is in their line. This is called Arctic Snow. So I guess I have an ice kyber.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's cool, man.
But if I keep this on too long, the blue dies and turns green. So
I will tell you right now, the single best deal on the internet, and I'm not just like blowing my own horn here, but or Extra Lives, but I have not seen a better deal than this, except for maybe some buy one get one's free. But right now at Extra Life, you can get a lightsaber of several choosings for $99, $100, right? With my discount code, which is Elegant77, that's 15% off, which brings that lightsaber down to $85 Canadian, which means any of you lucky Yanks out there, if you were to order a lightsaber from Extra Life and use my discount code, you'd be getting that lightsaber for around $65.
And mind you, this is as of recording this episode.
Yes, this is as of whatever today is, but and it's a crazy deal right now. If anybody wants that opportunity, like they're getting cheaper. There was a time when NeoPixels you couldn't pay less than $300 for one, and now you can find some NeoPixels for like $150. It's the things keep evolving. I guess one good thing about so many companies is it keeps the price points down because everybody's competing. So I guess that's one good thing. But it's hard when I think the biggest competition between all these companies is at the cons, because what they're fighting for is floor space. They want to be seen first, because often people see a lightsaber stand and they get sucked in. They'll buy that lightsaber before they realize there's 4 other booths that may be cheaper.
That's
So
absolutely the truth. My first fan expo, Ultra Sabers, boom, right
Right.
in front of the floor.
they fight
This
for it.
last year in New York, man, they were like way the hell in the back.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
yeah.
on the main thoroughfare, but still way the heck in the back.
Yeah, it's people are fighting for it these days because they want to be first because you got to get that angle right.
Well, Jim, I got to say, thank you so very much for taking the time. It is an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you. And, just talking about lightsabers and toys and, the wonderfulness that the Star Wars community has brought everybody together with other content creators like yourself or Trooper Mom or, I mean, I could go down the whole list. I mean, it's great to know that there's still a community out there of Star Wars people that, just keeps it alive and open for everyone. And you are definitely one of the pillars of that.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Like I said earlier, I'm so proud that this is a space where people can come and safely express their love for Star Wars and have some fun. This is all supposed to be fun, kids. It's not supposed to be so serious. So, I just I have a blast, and I'm really privileged to be your first time creator collector corner guy here. That just blows my mind. So thank you so much for having me on. I had an absolute blast. It's a great time for collecting. Can I say a quick shout out? Actually, I just want to shout
Please
out
do.
my buddy Dave, the TMNT collector. If any of you out there,
he's on my list.
we'll get him on here. No problem. I was going to tell you should have him on. He recently scored the Guinness World Record
He
for
did.
largest TMNT collection, which I'm going to go see hopefully this week or next week in person. I have not seen it in person. He only lives like 20 minutes from me. Very excited. And yeah, I'm lucky to live here. Roger Christian. Who would have thought collecting toy lightsabers and making videos about them would have led me to being friends with the guy who created the very first one? Because he happens to live in Toronto. It's mind-blowing, kids. Always chase your dreams. Take that leap, kids. Go for it.
It's all because of one of my loves of Mega Man. I have a buddy who lives in Surrey, BC. So, go figure. We've been chatting for years.
Yeah, my best friend lives in Colorado. Shout out El Hawkes, Josh Hawks. We made friends podcasting together back in like 2011 on Twitter, and he's out in Colorado, so I barely get to see him, but he's my boy, right?
That's what keeps us all together because we're all nerds united at the end of the day.
Cheers to that.
Oh, Dan, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody out there in the internet, to make sure that we always make sure we want to remind you that every single time you're going to make sure that when you're following Nerd Initiative, you're going to hit that subscribe button. You're going to ding that thing and make it ring. Hit that bell to let them know that we know what we're doing. And then, of course, smack that like. And then you're going to let the GEO, Michael, know that we're doing our job and we're doing it well. Jan, thank you so very much for joining us again. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. And everybody out there, make sure that when you play for keeps. I'm out.